Hello, this is John Maddison. I'm the CMO and EVP of Products at Fortinet. And a big thank you to PDS for inviting us to their vConnect. In previous years' Connect, Fortinet will be celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. I think Connect, this time vConnect, has been going for 20 years. I think actually PDS has been in operation for 30 years. In the next 15 to 20 minutes, I'm going to talk about digital innovation and how the partnership of Fortinet and PDS can guide, even accelerate our customers through this transformation. Fortinet is a very partner-focused company. We really rely on partners such as PDS to provide additional services and capabilities to make sure our technology fits in the customer environment. Before I go and talk about enabling digital innovation, let me just give you 5 minutes on Fortinet as a company, where we are today and where we're going. Now, Fortinet is one of the largest cybersecurity companies in the world. We're listed on the NASDAQ under FTNT. Market cap, well, that varies a lot these days. However, we are the only cybersecurity company listed on the S&P 500. 2019, around 2.6 billion. Solid profitability in that we make sure we have enough money to reinvest in R&D. We're not a big, huge acquisition company. We make acquisitions, but smaller ones. We prefer organic development. You can see that by the number of patents we have. Now, by far the largest in terms of firewall shipments on a quarterly basis. In fact, we ship more firewalls than our nearest 4 competitors combined. We are the only firewall vendor to build, design and build our own security processing units, or ASICs. Given our huge scale, millions of firewalls shipped, plus this, it was a huge price performance advantage. Plus, you're able to deliver more applications on those systems. Again, by far the largest in terms of customers installed, 465,000 globally. This gives us a massive sensor network. A lot of customers opt in to providing telemetry. So across every geography, across every industry, we have great coverage. And then we're not just a firewall company. In fact, we've expanded our portfolio pretty aggressively over the last 5 years. We have 30 plus security products which cover the entire attack surface. So most deployed, most validated, most patented, and the broadest portfolio in the industry. So we're headquartered in Sunnyvale, heart of Silicon Valley. We're actually building out a mini campus, not quite as big as the Apple campus, but it's our own campus. 95% of R&D is in North America, some in Sunnyvale, more actually in Canada, in Burnaby, near Vancouver, and Ottawa. Some smaller R&D places on the east coast of the US, the UK, Israel, and India, but these are much smaller. We built a follow-the-sun support structure every 3 hours, headquartered in Ottawa. We're probably approaching by end of this year around 8,000 employees. Surprisingly, for a Silicon Valley company, we're actually slightly better known and have more revenues internationally versus the Americas, but we continue to invest in our global presence. Now, as I was saying earlier on, Fortinet prefer organic development. It allows us to build a more integrated platform as we go forward. But we do acquisitions now and again, small acquisitions of IP, and of course the skill set that goes along with that. Most recently, we really focused on accelerating our security operations portfolio, whether it be automation around SOAR, EDR, Uber, and SIEM. Before that, we'd had a focus on IoT security and NAC. Most recently, a few weeks ago, we acquired Opaque Networks, which provides us some SaaS and firewalls as a service capability. But these are smaller acquisitions. I will say that for those of you familiar with Fortinet, you can see that we have a very simplistic naming system. It's 40, whatever it does. This keeps my life simple as the marketing head, but also means our customers can understand exactly what they're buying. Fortinet is well recognized by the industry analysts, Gartner obviously being the largest of them. We're actually in 6 Gartner Magic Quadrants. The one here is for network firewall. We're also in the Magic Quadrant for SD-WAN, endpoint, SIM, wireless LAN, WAF. We're also actually in 10 market guides. Market guides are the precursors sometimes to the Magic Quadrants. And so definitely this is in recognition of our increasing penetration of enterprise security accounts. And of course, there's so much hype in the cybersecurity industry. There's the acronym soup from the analysts, and then there's all the bold claims from the different vendors. Everyone's got the silver bullet that can answer. But not a lot of security vendors actually take the time or the investment to do third-party testing. It's, again, very confusing for customers. They can't test it themselves. Fortinet puts a lot of effort, actually a lot of expenditure and investment in making sure we test all our products through independent third-party organizations, not pay-for-play. NSS Labs being one of them, ICSA Labs, AV Comparatives, Virus Bulletin. We make sure we try and test and certify. It helps us, to be honest, but I do wish that the industry would get better at this in helping out the customer and supporting some of these third-party organizations a bit better.
Fortinet takes its corporate social responsibility extremely seriously, as all companies should these days. We actually, for our major buildings, we buy the land, build the buildings as energy efficient as possible. Our products run very energy efficient as well. Social responsibility. During COVID, we made a commitment to our employees for no layoffs. Very strict governance and code of conduct. I'll talk about education in a minute. Huge investment in training, education. We are a founding member of the World Economic Forum Center for Cybersecurity. In fact, we lead the training and education part of that. Founding member of Cyber Threat Alliance. We work with many organizations, NATO, Interpol, to track down cyber criminals. Innovation-wise, we're listed as one of the leading labs for zero-day discoveries, over 840 zero-day discoveries. So huge investment, but again, corporate social responsibility is very important these days.
So, well, we have a big investment in training and education. I think everyone's aware of the skills shortage in cybersecurity, so we invest very heavily in this. We have a program called Network Security Expert. It started 4 years ago. It took us about 3 years to get to 250,000 certifications. It's taken us another 9 months to get to 500,000 certifications. It consists of 8 levels. NSE 1, for example, is more of an IT awareness. It's open to the public. A lot of our customers and partners use that for internal training. NSE 2 is open, which talks about generic cybersecurity capabilities. And as you get further down here towards NSE 8, you get more and more technical and more sophistication. Definitely PDS has got different members of the team trained across these different levels. We also donate course material and products to over 320 different colleges and universities, and even some of our larger companies are starting to use our content. So we'll continue to invest in this. I know PDS is continuing to invest in that as well, and I think it's very important that everyone gets to certain training and skill levels to optimize the products and services. Now, as companies work towards digital transformation, this innovation is causing increased risk, and of course, cyber threats take advantage of the disruption. So, first of all, what we're seeing is a lot more breach activity, even more so from ransomware perspective, and more sophisticated targeted attacks. Definitely, as you're building out the digital infrastructure, the perimeter expands, you start to see these new edges being formed as this is increasing the digital attack surface. And then this complexity of the ecosystem. A lot of customers have 20, 30 different point products that just don't work together. They can't get the skilled people to make sure they're configured properly and respond. And then for certain industries, there's compliance and regulatory where you need to make sure you have everything set and in place. So let's take a look at the threat landscape. Still a huge amount of volume of attacks in the many billions. So you still need that protection in place, what I call signature-based systems, antivirus, IPS type systems, but a continued and increased investment in detection and response due to the targeted attacks. We're seeing actually ransomware now increase even faster than breaches. Still, social engineering, phishing is the prime way in. There's a lot of social media now where they can do the research, but the advanced threats continue. People are now kind of looking at their frameworks, NIST, ISO, even MITRE, and rebalancing some of the investment again into this detection, breach detection, and response type systems to provide that automated rapid response. Now, one area that has been changing a lot is infrastructure. That change has been accelerated by the pandemic. And when you look at the infrastructure today, you've got users and devices which were more or less on campus environments, the branch, and traveling. A lot of that's focused now on home, although this will change as you go forward. Consuming applications, if they were actually on the network, you try and get them back to the data center to consume applications there, or if they were in the cloud, they were be sent out into the cloud. Of course, more and more applications are moving from the cloud, but we're also seeing hybrid applications move back into the data center. If you were off network, and again, this is very focused on the home right now, you would still try and get back to the data center and then off into the cloud. Now, what customers are saying is that if I'm trying to access a public application, then maybe I don't need to go back through the data center. I can go straight into that public cloud, again, if I'm on network or off network. And what that has done, as you can see, is it's developed now additional edges. You've got a WAN edge through SD-WAN. You've got now maybe a cloud edge as you go forward. You've got maybe a home edge. I'm actually broadcasting this from my SD-WAN at home. You've got identity edge and endpoint edges. Across all of that, you've got to manage the risk, and long-term, you've got to automate the operations. But what this really points to is that really you have a very hybrid infrastructure for some time here. But you've got to look at this very carefully from an edge perspective, as well as looking at where you can provide a zero trust type architecture all the way from devices and users through the network, through the cloud, and to the applications. So what does the Fortinet technology vision look like? How we're going to help our customers accelerate their digital innovation? The first concept, which has been something that Fortinet, since our foundation, has been pushing on very hard, and that is convergence. Convergence of networking and security, such that you could implement security in an accelerated way anywhere. We've been doing this initially over the last 20 plus years through our ASICs and SPUs and in appliances. And more recently, we've expanded that to the cloud. But it really allows you to develop a single architecture for networking and security. The second concept, which is very important, and it's important because you really have to build that zero trust architecture long term, all the way from users and devices through your network into your applications in cloud. And having a platform allows you to automate, allows you to bring operational efficiency, but it's also very important that your platform is open, that you can incorporate other elements and other vendors inside that ecosystem. And then finally, once you've built all of that, we're going to start implementing AI-driven security operations, AI-driven network operations to give you that predictive security and to give you that self-healing networking to give you the best and most optimized user experience end-to-end. So how are we turning this vision into reality? Well, we do it through the Fortinet Cybersecurity platform. It consists of these areas. The first one being networking, or what we call security-driven networking, which includes network firewall, SD-WAN, secure wireless LAN and LAN, SASE and secure web gateway. And by the way, underneath these solution sets, there's multiple products and services. There's zero trust network access, endpoint access, network access control, identity, authentication, and token. And then there's security for the cloud. Dynamic cloud security focused on applications such as email and WAF. We built out roadmaps for each of the individual cloud platforms. This is AWS, for Azure, GCP, and then the network, riding that network and cloud on-ramp. And then from a CISO and security perspective, there is a full portfolio, whether it be endpoint security, EPP, EDR, there's breach prevention such as sandboxing, and then a full portfolio of incident response, SIM, SOAR, and then quite uniquely in the industry, and you can only really do this if you built it mostly organically, is a single console, what we call the Fabric Management Center, providing orchestration, and as we go forward, providing that AI NetOps. This, by far, is the broadest cybersecurity portfolio in the industry. So although we have an extensive platform from endpoint to network to cloud, customers and partners make investments in many different types of infrastructure and security. And so we want to maintain that investment. So we make the system as open as possible. First of all, we have 360 different partners who can build to our API. Our CTO always says that anything in our GUI has to be in our API. And so you can do just about anything through the API. The larger orchestration vendors, we build to their API. So whether it be the cloud vendors, the SDN vendors, identity, we build these connectors which actually extend and allow you to build automation and objects across that. As with all companies, you should have a thriving DevOps community on GitHub, things like Ansible. And then we've also built out extending well beyond our platform. And so things like our NAC and SIM support all the different switches, APs, and firewalls, etc. as you go forward. And in fact, we use our partners like PDS to kind of bring together some of these different vendors to provide a solution for our customers. Now, I wanted to probably look at the fabric in a very simple use case. And what better today than work from home? I've been working from home for 4 months. And what I'm showing here actually is my work from home system. Hopefully I've covered all the little IP addresses up so you can't hack into me at some point. And this is a very simple view of a fabric. I've got a FortiGate here. I've got a switch. I've got access points. I've got endpoints. They're all connected. They can all see each other. They all talk to each other. I've implemented a couple of ISPs on the front through AT&T and Comcast. And then I've implemented a policy based on applications and traffic and devices and users. And I think this is we actually started this project. I started this project. My team asked me to run a program in early January about how it was so simple, our SD-WAN, that even our CMO could implement it in his house. And what's turned out is this, as I've used it in the last 4 months, has been very impressive in terms of performance, high availability, and security. And now we're seeing our customers look at this as definitely something for their top power users. Some people aren't going back to the office. In fact, Gartner was saying by the end of 2021, we'll go to around 30%. So we've gone from 4% to 90% and then back down to 30%. So there'll still be some power users, will always be work from home. And what started off as what seems pretty incredible to have at your house now is very viable for some of our customers. And we actually have customers starting to implement this mini fabric, SD-WAN enabled fabric in their homes for a certain percentage of their users. Okay, well, let's wrap up here. Hopefully that gave you a really high level view of our vision of the marketplace, what's happening in the marketplace for cybersecurity. Most definitely PDS are a trusted partner of Fortinet. There is no use of just having technology if you can't integrate that into the customer's ecosystem. More importantly, if you can't match that with the vision the customer has as they roll out the digital innovation. So we're working closely with PDS so far. We look forward to working even more closely as we go forward. Thank you.